Thank you, David, for that introduction. I see myself as 25, and I hear that, and I go, nope, I am not 25. It is a pleasure to be here. Dr. Bogard, Lake-Sumter State College faculty and staff, parents, family, friends, elected officials present here today, but above all, the graduating class of 2022. It is truly a privilege to be here and to be your keynote speaker. It is Friday night. You are about to graduate. I recognize I stand between you and a party somewhere, so this is going to be brief. Graduation speeches tend to be motivational in nature. I must say that that is neither my thing nor am I really enticed by that kind of speech. However, I would share Zig Ziglar, those of you who know he's a famous motivational speaker, once said, people often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why I recommend it daily. So I agree with Zig Ziglar on just half of that. We'll keep the showers, but we'll do away with the motivational speaker. So what I'm going to do this evening is share with you 5 things that I hope would challenge you, would cause you to process and think about your direction going forward. Here they are. Number 1, be clear about your purpose. We often conflate choice and purpose. They are 2 distinct things. Simply described, choice might be what you picked on the menu. Purpose is why you went to eat. Sometimes because we choose a field of study or work, we assume that we have naturally entered that sacred space of our life's purpose. Unfortunately, that is not always the case. This might feel like an odd message to deliver to a group of people that are about to graduate with a specific degree, but it's not. Understand that your purpose might evolve over time, depending on new aspirations or major life-changing events. The point is not that you must have this figured out this very minute, rather that you make it a point to discover what it is, commit your life and yourself to relentless pursuit and living it fully. Those of us much older than you can tell you that superficial motives disguised as a purpose will not fuel the passion needed to keep you engaged in a lifetime of work. Perhaps you are one of the lucky few who knew at an early age what you wanted to do, what you wanted to be. You are, in fact, one of the lucky few. Be grateful. Most of us discover that over time. There's joy in the discovery process, for sure. By changing jobs, by trial and error, even by going back to school for different expertise. Again, my challenge to you isn't that you have to be clear on your purpose this very minute, but that rather I encourage you to invest the time needed to identify it, cultivate it, and not settle. Ask yourself some interesting questions that will take you on a journey. Do you love your chosen field? Because if you do, you will find passion there. Do you think you'll be good at it? Because if you think you are, you'll find mission there. Does the world need the skills you've been cultivating? If so, you will find vocation. That is what I mean by struggling with these questions. There are far too many people today that are tolerating life instead of living it. And that is because the true inner self knows that their life purpose is out of sync with who they are. Please do not misunderstand what I'm saying. This is not one of those follow your passion to the poorhouse challenge. This is find the right balance challenge. Making a living is important, but if monetary reasons alone become central to your choice of a career, I encourage you to think that over. Whatever amount of money you want today, I promise you it will not be enough tomorrow. You will always want more because no amount of money will fill that void that can only be filled with a purposeful life. So if all else fails, remember this. There is no such thing as finding purpose in service to oneself. Purpose only comes in service to others, in service to your community. Number 2, skills and knowledge are no substitute for kindness. Just had a side conversation with one of our elected officials about this. Lake-Sumter has fulfilled its obligation to you by preparing you in this field of your choosing. This graduation event in and of itself is an affirmation that you have met the standards required to pursue a line of work. However, once in the workplace, you will quickly find that people you serve, your patients, your clients, your customers, your constituents, are less concerned with the skills you bring by itself, but if you see them for who they are, as individuals, are unique persons. They want to know if you care about them and not just the problem you are there to solve. To be sure, they want your expertise. That's why they came to you to start with. But for better or worse, we have become a society where each individual demands to be recognized for the unique person that they are. Therefore, they are just not concerned with the ability or your ability to deliver on that promise of professional skill, but how much of your heart you invest in them. For many young people, their arrival in the workplace is often followed by a rude awakening. You arrive at the workplace believing your superior technical abilities are as amazing to you as they would be to your consumers, and you find out, not really. They really, really want you to know who they are. They really want to know that they are special to you. Let me give you an analogy. By show of hands, how many of you have been on an airplane? All of you should. By the way, this is the seaplane capital of the world. So how many of you knew that? Okay, all right. How many of you have been on a plane? A lot of you have raised your hands. Let me ask you this. Before you boarded that aircraft, how many of you actually stopped and asked to see the service records of that aircraft to ensure that it is flight ready? No, you didn't. How about this? How many of you asked to see if the pilot has the requisite training to fly the aircraft you're about to get on? You have not. Neither have I. However, you, me, and our loved ones get on an airplane, fly up 35,000 feet up in the air, 500 miles an hour, and we don't bat an eye. But if they don't give us our peanuts, right? If they don't give you the peanuts. Why is that important? We don't concern ourselves with the mechanics and physics of flight. We don't concern ourselves with pilot training. Why? Because it is the airline's job to ensure that we fly safely and arrive timely. It is their job to do that. I can't tell you how a plane glides in the air, but if a reservation process doesn't work well, I can judge that. You can judge that. I don't know anything about the incredible simulators that pilots spend hundreds of hours training. But if I need help putting my luggage in the overhead compartment because I have a broken arm or I need a wheelchair to go down the planeway, and they don't provide that, you and I can judge that. It doesn't matter to me that the aircraft is amazing. It's fitted with the latest technology and the pilot finished top of his class or her class. Whatever your field of expertise, don't ever make the mistake that your skills and education are enough. Let me bring this point home to you. Imagine at the end of that flight, it was terrible. They didn't take care of you in the way you thought you should. And you know how the pilot and the crew aggregate at the exit of the plane and they go, "Thank you for flying with us." And you go, "Hey, this really was a terrible flight." And the pilot looks you in the eye and says, "Well, we got you here alive, didn't we?" How would that go down? This is the point I'm trying to connect. The pilot measures success with his or her skill to safely navigate and land the plane. You and I judge our experience and how well we were treated on that same flight. Those two are different measuring sticks. This, by the way, has never been more important than it is in healthcare, in the field and in the industry that I'm part of. So those of you that are in it, please listen to me. Your exceptional skills mean very little if we lack empathy, compassion, and are not equally focused on the preservation of the dignity of every patient. If you are in healthcare, guard your heart. Guard yourself against the callousness that can form over time, because that will lead you to what I call the healthcare giver's arrogance, which goes like the pilot. "I've saved your life. What more do you want from me?" Or, "I'm saving your life. What more do you want from me?" We're going to build a kinder, gentler world. There is no room for the competent clinically gifted jerk. Be kind. Be kind. Be smart. But always be kind. Number 3, be a lifelong learner. Be curious about the world around you. God has given you vast capabilities and mental dexterity that if you exercise it, you can bring the full benefit of your intellect to make this a better world. Knowledge is not static. We are generating inordinate amounts of it daily. There are somewhere around 30,000 scientific journals in the world today, publishing about 2 million journals annually, articles annually. Arguably, this massive amount of information isn't always relevant to every specific field you might be, but there are gold mines buried in there that if you dig for them, you can make an impact anywhere you are. But here's the key. You can't discover something unless you're looking. And you won't be looking unless you're curious, and you're not going to be curious unless you have developed the love for learning. Don't let your graduation be the end of your learning. Read. 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 Number 4, reconcile science with your faith. It is unfortunate that one of the sad tragedies of our time is the idea that science and faith are at war with one another. They are not. That accepting one must somehow come at the expense of rejecting the validity of the other. By the way, in the scope of history, this is a recent phenomenon. I categorically reject that notion, and I sincerely hope that you do as well. At the very least, science and faith are complementary and at their best, both necessary. Science is observable, quantifiable, duplicable, and the predictive nature allows us to solve problems, to build things, to make things efficient, safe, add economic value, and find unique solutions to this world's many problems. It is not necessary to disparage one's faith in order to give value to science. The field of science has brought society immeasurable benefits, has cured diseases, reduced poverty, lowered infant mortality, increased quality and longevity of life, has moved us from subsistence living to thriving in all parts of the world. Scientific discoveries continue to propel humanity forward, and I believe you, the next generation, is poised to make some amazing discoveries that will take us to the next level of human progression. And yet, science is neither a substitute for your faith nor a source of conflict with your God. Know the difference. The God you believe in must remain big, too big to fit in a laboratory and too complex to be reduced to a formula. In my humble opinion, faith is what gives life meaning, not necessarily scientific discoveries. When faith is inappropriately introduced into the realm of science, that is when we reduce its ability to give us meaning. And that is also where we shortchange its impact. Take care not to make your God too small. Take care not to diminish both by subscribing to a narrative that forces a false choice and hierarchy between your faith and science, when there's no need to do so. Number 5, humanity first, humanity last. The mission statement of my organization says, our mission is to extend the healing ministry of Christ. It is a lofty mission, and we strive daily to fulfill that. Sometimes we come short, but on the balance, I think we are directionally correct. What I find most appealing, however, is that there are no qualifiers in this mission statement. It doesn't say to extend the healing ministry of Christ if you are young, old, black, white, insured, uninsured, native, immigrant, straight, gay, tall, short, male, female. It has no requirements. Our mission simply calls us to extend the healing hand to those who come to our doors needing our help. It is their need for our compassion that must drive us, not their identity. When it comes to serving people, there are no qualifiers. It is humanity first and humanity last. This is my last challenge to you. We are a divided society along so many meaningless and utterly foolish segments. There are whole industries designed to stoke anger, division, and conflict among us. Sadly, they have succeeded more than they should. They have amplified the worst in us and amped up our fears to a point where we no longer can hear or see each other's humanity. The unrelenting onslaught of social and traditional media have robbed us of our empathy towards one another. The world is going to change. It is because you took the next steps. Next generation of leaders, to be more precise, you're going to make this a better world, hopefully a better one than the one my generation is giving you. You need to resist the gravitational pull towards more division, incivility, self-centeredness, and an us versus them mindset. These behaviors, like an empty calorie-dense junk food, may feel good for the moment, but will continue to pull us apart at the seams. The only way to reclaim going forward, the way to reclaim the high ground, is to love and serve your fellow man and woman without regard to who they are and where they come from. By virtue of your attainment of higher education, you are holding yourself to a higher standard. We are committing ourselves to a higher standard. If our education serves only to advance our self-interest, then we are not worthy of it. Education is noble. Education is amazing. It ought to make you and me better, our community stronger, our country exceptional, and finally make the world a better place. Humanity first, humanity last. Class of 2022, congratulations. God bless you. Thank you for having me.
Abel, thank you. You lead with passion and purpose, and most clearly from the love within your heart. You have shared with us a model of leadership and citizenship to which we can only aspire to achieve. Tonight, I would like to present you with a Lake-Hawk Leadership Award and officially induct you into our Lake-Hawk family and tell you how much we truly appreciate your partnership in helping all of our students in our healthcare fields have an opportunity to succeed, but also as a friend and colleague, how much I appreciate you.